Well, Senate Democrats have now dragged us into the Schumer shutdown. When I say us, I mean all of us as Americans. Didn't have to happen. And it certainly doesn't need to continue. Americans are overwhelmingly against the shutdown of our government. New polling from the New York Times and Siena just came out, and the polling proves it. Here's the key finding. 2 out of 3 Americans believe that Democrats should not shut down the government, even if they don't get their $1 trillion ransom fee paid, which, of course, they won't. Only 47% of the Democrats support a shutdown. That's not even a majority of Democrats. Senate Democrats are on the wrong side of Republicans, they're on the wrong side of independents, and they're on the wrong side of their own party. There is only one good option to reopen the government, and that option is a bipartisan, clean, continuing resolution that we will vote on this morning. The House already passed it with bipartisan support. President Trump is ready to sign it. Senate Republicans voted yesterday in an attempt to pass it. It failed yesterday, and we're going to offer it again today. All it takes to reopen the government is cooperation from just 5 more Senate Democrats. We picked up 3 Democrats last night, so there are clearly cracks on their side of the aisle and movement towards our side. That will continue. We are ready to vote for it again and again and again to make sure we can reopen the government for the American people. And there is bipartisan, broad bipartisan support to open the government. That's what the New York Times revealed, and that's what the vote revealed last evening. 5 more Democrats join us today. The shutdown is over. Because remember, it takes 60 votes in the Senate to get something like this passed and accomplished. And all we're asking is to reopen the government for the next 7 weeks. Democrats supported these same funding levels before. Now they claim the levels aren't good enough. Democrats are now demanding $1.5 trillion in new spending for just reopening the government for 4 short weeks. That's $48 billion of new spending each and every day of the 4 weeks in the Democrats' proposal. This is a direct attack on hardworking American taxpayers who voted against wasteful Washington spending in the elections in November. Think back to previous continuing resolutions just like this one. You can think back to 13 of them during the time Joe Biden was in office at the White House. 13 of these passed. The minimum number of votes was 65. We voted to keep the government open, bipartisan. When Joe Biden and Barack Obama were president, Democrats said shutdowns were dangerous, destructive, and desperate. That's the word of the Democrats. Dangerous, destructive, desperate. Listen to those words. Listen to what Chuck Schumer said. He said, passing a clean CR would avert a harmful and unnecessary government shutdown. He also said if a government shuts down, it'll be average Americans who suffer the most. But yesterday, he stood here in the well and then voted to shut down the government. Senator Patty Murray of Washington is the top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Committee. She has said a shutdown solves nothing. She went on to say, and it hurts everyone. Yesterday, she voted to shut down the government. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts said that a shutdown, quote, is the last resort for those who can't otherwise win their fights through elections and can't win their fights in Congress. Well, yesterday, she voted to shut down the government. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut said, quote, there is a time and a place to debate health care, but not when the funding of the federal government and all the lives that are impacted by it hang in the balance. Well, yesterday, he voted to shut down the government. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota is a member of the Senate Democrat leadership. She said, shutdowns are not good for the economy. Yesterday, she voted to shut down the government. Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii said, I've seen the same thing over and over again. He said, shutdowns don't work, no one wins, but Americans have a lot to lose. Yesterday, he voted to shut down the government. Those were Senate Democrat words when there was a Democrat in the White House. Yet last night, when it mattered, Democrats ignored their own warnings. Either their memories are short or their principles are situational. The costs they describe are now a reality. Border Patrol agents are showing up to work. They're not getting paid. The Border Patrol Union warns that shutdowns threaten their capacity to maintain the most secure border in our nation's history. Veterans' health care is going to be impacted. Low-income families will lose vital benefits to help buy groceries. Republicans are committed to reopening the government with a clean, continuing resolution. That will allow us to finish the appropriations process the right way. Mr. President, when he was Majority Leader, Senator Schumer broke that process, the appropriations process. Last year, the Senate Appropriations Committee passed, the committee, not Chuck Schumer, but that committee passed 11 of 12 appropriations bills, many of them unanimous, always bipartisan. And what happened? Senator Schumer let each and every one of them rot and die in his Senate desk drawer. He shut down the appropriations process, and now he wants to shut down the government. Republicans have restored the appropriations process. For the first time in 4 years, the Senate passed appropriation bills in August, passed 3 of them. Senator Susan Collins of Maine deserves special praise and thanks for this achievement. Passing a clean CR will allow the Senate to finish our bipartisan work. The American people want their government open. They want it reopened. They want it to remain open. They want it working. So today, Democrats are facing a clear choice. They can govern in the best interest of the American people, or they can continue to grandstand for their retweets and their likes from their liberal base. Republicans are united in our commitment to reopen the government. How long it takes, how costly it is, that, Mr. President, is entirely up to the Senate Democrats. A bipartisan offer, a bipartisan bill that already passed the House is right here in the Senate for a vote today. The President is ready to sign it to reopen the government. It is time to pass the bill today and end this Schumer shutdown. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.